236,923,200 is the number of people who died between now and October 2018. That's over 200 million people who got the chance to experience the pinnacle of human creation, but yet will never lay their eyes on the Halloween 2022 Google Doodle. If you're not up to speed on the rich and storied history of Halloween Google Doodle lore, let me briefly fill you in. Back in 1999, about a year after computers were invented and Google came onto the scene, one of the employees had a revolutionary idea. What if, instead of having a boring logo all the time, once a year we replaced the letter O with pumpkins? But not the shadows that the letter O's make, those stay the same. This resulted in the formation of a brand new holiday, Google Wiener, which was later changed to Halloween for copyright reasons, and I'm not surprised these pumpkins go hard. But the point is that this began a rich tradition of Halloween Google Doodles being the best and probably only positive contribution that Google offers to humanity. Over the years, they developed in scope and magnitude. 2013 introduced interactivity and animation. 2014 changed every time you refreshed it. 2015 introduced global connectivity with an internet leaderboard. 2016 was a full-fledged game with characters and a story, and 2017 expanded on that established lore even more. Then the 2018 Google Doodle changed everything. An online, yet strategic, fast-paced online multiplayer experience. This game was all about stealing from others, and that's one of the reasons I think it really hit home for a lot of us in the theft crowd. Each game is set to exactly 2 minutes, which is the perfect amount of time for some quick, bite-sized, family-friendly fun. And obviously the speedrunning crowd went wild with it. But after that, things started going downhill. 2019 gave us this National Geographic sponsored looking thing. It's like watching Zaboomafoo if every character was a JPEG. 2020 was decent at least. Their strategy then was to just basically bring back the 2016 Halloween Google Doodle, granted with extra features, but this established a pattern in how Halloween Google Doodles were spaced, and this left room for a lot of speculation, which is where we were left at the end of my half-hour-long lore analysis video. See, the 2016 Doodle returns every 4 years, right? So maybe the 2017 one also would, and we get a new animation. Maybe Halloween 2018 would return every 3 years, which was my hope. Or maybe Uzbekistan Independence Day 2017 would return every 4.167 years. Regrettably, none of these happened. The Halloween 2021 Google Doodle was a GIF. Nothing but a GIF. It's not even like an exciting GIF, it's just like some bubbles moving around and that's all. Remember, they prepared a whole video for Halloween in 2011, a full decade before this. There's no reason. This one was a 0 out of 10 Google Doodle by its merit. But I'm actually gonna rank it lower because not only was there nothing worthwhile, but it actually took something from me. The Halloween 2018 Doodle, which was still available to play beforehand on the Google Doodle Archive website, was something I played rather frequently, and upon seeing the travesty that was the 2021 Doodle, I typed in Halloween 2018 to clear my mind, and was greeted with perpetual buffering. Google had shut it down after 3 years. So the 2021 Doodle is going on the chart as a -10 on account of being a deduction of 2018's score. And after seeing the 2021 Doodle for the first time, it took a lot of emotional turmoil, but I eventually came to terms with it about a week or two ago. Halloween Google Doodles were just not good anymore, and so I really wasn't expecting anything good from Google at this point. 2018 was dead in the ground, so probably just another GIF or something, but my expectations were thwarted. The Halloween 2022 Google Doodle truly is the Dark Souls of Halloween Google Doodles, but what I'm really interested in is how it develops on the clear Marxist commentary present in the original. I mean, obviously the 2018 version was such a blatant microcosm of late-stage capitalism that it was basically slapping you in the face with it, but as I understand it, there's a little bit of controversy with the standard analysis, so I'll go over it real quick. See, the overarching goal of the competition is to acquire these wisps, which is the capital in the system, and that can be done in a few ways. The slowest and most obvious way is to just collect them straight off the ground, which acts as your labor, but as the player is in competition with 7 other people, there's purposefully not enough to go around. You also get a bonus from collecting so-called mega wisps, which are interesting because they are visibly sapient and react with fear, running away from the player when they're collected. These seem to be a stand-in for the exploitation of working-class labor, especially considering the game treats them like NPCs, like they don't even have souls. However, by far the most effective way of accumulating capital is by stealing it from others. Not only do you gain the amount you steal, but the other team loses that same amount as well, which effectively means you acquire twice as much net capital in total. Thus, this system incentivizes exploiting others to boost your own wealth. For those that are stolen from, there is an option to simply steal back from the other person, but this generally has the effect of resulting in a fruitless cycle of perpetually stealing from each other, which wastes valuable time that could be used accumulating wealth in more effective ways. These pointless fighting matches usually only end once several other people from a single team show up and the odds become unbalanced. This represents how effectively pointless close competition is in the end for innovating or accomplishing anything of material value. And just like modern Western ideological propaganda, the Halloween 2022 Google Doodle tries to perpetuate the idea that it isn't pitting everyone against each other, as it fits each player into a set of teams. Part of this is a different method of gaining wealth, the buddy bonus of 5 units of capital which the player gains just from touching another player of the same color. But while cooperation can work at first, 5 units of capital is extremely little compared to what one can receive by stealing from others, and every aspect of the game is still pitting players against each other, even if they are on the same team. You see, a core part of the gameplay is a number of upgrades that the player receives by gaining a certain amount of capital. But these upgrades don't come from how much the team acquires, but rather from what each individual manages to accumulate, in a grim reflection of the destructive individualism of modern-day capitalism. These upgrades also make it easier to acquire more wealth, resulting in a cycle where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And most of the achievements introduced this year also reward individual accomplishments specifically, further incentivizing competition against one's teammates. Speaking of the teams themselves, the developers at Google pretty clearly intended the teams to be a representation of systemic racism, and perhaps the modern-day culture wars resulting from it. I mean, arbitrarily sorting the player into categories and pitting them against each other based on literally nothing but a color kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Now, the majority of what I've gone through was already in the 2018 version. What's really relevant here is how the 2022 Google Doodle builds upon the allegorical structure here. And analyzing this, it gets a little inconvenient for us because not that much stuff was added. I mean, what was there to add? It's already perfect. Now, the original game had 4 randomized maps total, 2 indoors and 2 outdoors, but now there are 2 extra maps added, 1 of each. There's also 4 new randomized playable characters added, 2 of which are hands, which symbolizes the iron grip of the upper class, or perhaps representing the puppeteering hand of the elite hidden amongst us on both sides of the aisle. There's also a half-bear, half-jellyfish hybrid, which symbolizes how society forces us to fit into rigid social roles, turning us into amalgamations of what we once were. And finally, the mouse character, which is symbolic of how, in a capitalist society, mice are cute. Most of the other original changes don't affect gameplay. Originally in the 2018 version, it would only tell the player a single achievement and the results of each single game, with stand-ins acting as participation trophies, such as most transparent. The new version has ditched this commie-liberal B-crap in favor of a full-fledged achievement system added, which is built to incentivize solely individualistic accomplishments, as I previously stated, in addition to encouraging a cycle of constant work, much like modern-day hustle culture. This achievement system is also the foundation for a hat system, where each achievement provides a hat for the player to wear in-game to express their individuality. However, ironically, those same hats are selected from a limited set that millions across the world also would have chosen, a grim reflection of consumerism gone awry. There is one new change which I don't believe has an obvious analysis. This new irradiated Chernobyl pumpkin, which appears in the middle of the map and acts much like the Big Adderall from Pac-Man, giving invincibility and causing any player who comes into contact to basically just die. I thought at first this might be like the lottery, since it seemed basically entirely based on luck to reach, but it occurred to me that those with the speed boost upgrade do have a much easier time reaching the thing first, and also collecting enough capital widens the frame of view for the player, making it easier to physically see the thing. Since this means those who find the power-up the first time are put at a permanent advantage in finding it afterwards, I thought it could be the intrinsic link between success and luck in general, but that doesn't account for giving the ability to slaughter other players. This led me to the conclusion that the ultimate method of finding success class in a capitalist system is to organize an illegal drug or human trafficking ring and have members of rival gangs or law enforcement assassinated in order to stay afloat. Although I do realize that analysis is a little shaky, so I'd love to hear other perspectives in the comments perhaps. That being said, the masterwork of the Halloween Google Doodle never ceases to shock me. This year the Doodle is getting a 10.001 because that's just about how much was improved compared to the 2018 Google Doodle. I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Super Halloween, which is just like regular Halloween, except it occurs on October 32nd instead, which makes it even more scarier. I look forward to next year when the 2019 Google Doodle makes a comeback and they just upload that one again with no changes. In the meantime, make sure to look at my good friend Rem Soda's channel, who made all the Google Doodle music remixes which were used as background music in this video. But in any case, make sure to join me next time on the Everything Review 1 year from today. And nothing until then.